Welcome to Life Mastery Radio with Todd Allen and Jackie Bailey, the show that dives into the science of higher consciousness with inspiring topics such as abundance, intention, health, manifestation, love, and transformation. Join Todd, Jackie, and their guests of leading authors, speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific. Learn to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery. It's all right here with stories and messages to support your well-being and most evocative dreams. Now, here's your hosts, Todd and Jackie.
And hey, it's another groovy day, and most of you already know, but I'm going to tell you, it's because I make it that way. Every day when I start my day, I decide it's going to be a groovy day, and the rest of the day turns out pretty groovy. Something might happen, something might change, but I can always just think back and think about, hey, I started out pretty groovy. I can turn this around too. Works every time. Try it. You'll like it, and it will work for you too. I guarantee it. It's also a groovy day because it's Life Mastery Radio Day, the day I get to hang out with my good friend Jackie, and Jackie and I get to visit and consult, and then we get to bring on another really cool guest just for you and your very own life mastery journey. Somebody that is on the cutting edge of their own becoming, and they're ready to push you off the edge of your own becoming with their thoughts and ideas to help us along the way. So you wouldn't be in a free fall jumping off the edge. You would have the tools and the necessary items you need to fly like a bird. I guarantee it. That's what this show's all about. Life mastery. And as always, my co-host is here today, Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Smiley.
Hello. How are you doing besides being groovy? Is there anything else happening in your life?
Oh, I am on week 5 of a 6-week chemotherapy buzz. I got one more chemo left and about 2 more weeks of radiation. And what the doctor tell me the other day? She says, one more chemo week, and guess what? You're cancer free. I said, really? She goes, yeah, that's the determination. So that's good positivity, right there.
Nice. That maybe gives you a little more wind to go through that one more week of chemo, right? Because that's probably worse than the radiation, would you say?
Well, the radiation is every day, and I have this nice little suntan on my neck. Cancer's in my throat, of course. The chemo's kind of drags on you, kicks your ass. Oops, can't say it.
Beep. It's okay. Sometimes those words are appropriate.
They pump you full of some good meds and some steroids, and it lasts for a couple days, and then you kind of get to crash it off for a couple days and then come out of it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to only one more of those trips.
Yeah.
But
and the worst part, I think, for you too is you can't taste anything, so you can't really eat anything, right?
Can't swallow. I cannot eat. I have a feeding tube installed, and I get my daily nutrition through 7 cartons of, what would we call it, tube food.
Yeah.
or it's more like a formula, but
yeah,
keeps me nutritionized, and I get my hydration through there. And I could get spoiled on that if I never had to eat again. I mean, I don't know. The problem I have now is I watch TV shows and I see commercials with pizza commercials and cheeseburgers, and oh my gosh, the cravings hit me, and it's just like,
your mouth still waters, right?
Well, no, it's kind of dry.
It's dry.
Yeah, it's pretty dry.
No.
Other than that, though, Jackie, I'm doing great. I get to hang out with you this week again, and we get to bring on a really cool guest. I want to remind our listeners that today's show page is at www.lifemasteryradio.com. You can go there. Anything that we talk about as far as links, or everything's up there for our guest today already, and links to her website and some of her videos. They are already there. And later on in the week, Jackie will update with a blog post about today's show. And then I'll put some bookends on this recording, load it into our YouTube channel, and those can also be found anywhere YouTube, our website, Facebook. You can find them just about anywhere. So yeah, all things Life Mastery Radio. And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter. I think I already said that. Maybe I didn't. Jackie writes it once a week, and that's all we use that email for, is just get you information on all things Life Mastery.
Yeah.
Okay, Jackie, are you ready for today's show? I think this is your guest, so that means
I get to introduce her. Yes, and Wendy is one of those people that is just fun to hang out with, no matter what the occasion is, and so I'm happy that she's here. She is a remarkable individual whose life is a vibrant melody of resilience and empowerment. With over 5 decades of experience as a parrot owner, Wendy's spirit resonates with the colorful personalities of her feathered companions. As an energy healing practitioner, Wendy channels her vibrant energy to transform lives and create a harmonious balance of well-being. Wendy's journey as a longtime singer-songwriter and lyricist adds another layer to her rich tapestry. Her expertise in crafting parodies and original songs for individuals, organizations, and events infuses joy and creativity into every note. See, I told you she was going to be fun. With a heart that embraces life's challenges and a spirit that empowers those around her, Wendy's presence is a powerful reminder that our unique melodies can inspire, uplift, and bring change to the world. That is what we all need right now. So I'm very happy to have Wendy Weber here with us. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Jackie. Hi, Todd. It's great to be here with both of you.
Great to be here with you, and we are delighted and excited that you're here.
Absolutely.
Some of us are delighted to be anywhere.
Music has the ability to heal. Just by listening to it, it calms the nerves. And I don't think something would have been around for as long as it has been if it didn't have some kind of effect on us.
I think that for me, it is a great evidence of a source, whether you call it God, or in my religion, Biananai, or anything you want to call it. But why would something that's just notes and vibrations make such a difference and have such variety and bring such joy? Where does that come from? Harmony and how we listen to harmony, that has to be something that was envisioned or allowed perhaps by a source, because it is so remarkable.
And don't we take it for granted? I mean, just as you say, it is this gift. Music is a gift, I think, because it resonates with our energetic soul. And yet we often don't take advantage of the music that's around us. I mean, nature has its own sounds and beauties. So you have this diverse background and range of skill as an energy healer, as a musician, as a parrot owner. And, that is almost like a career in itself, because parrots are like people and they need certain relationships to be intact and in certain ways. So where would you like to start, or which subject would you most like to start with, Wendy, that will help our listeners to get to know you better and understand your journey through this a little bit better?
First came the music.
Okay.
I've probably been singing since I was 3, and if it was before that, I don't remember. But we had the radio, and we had a record player. So I still have all of my father's 33 RPMs. For those of you who don't know what a record is, it's that round thing you put it on a turntable and you put a needle on it, and it goes around 33 times a minute. But that wasn't first. I still have my dad's old L. Jolson 78s. So that was 78 times around. And then there was the little 45s.
Right.
I don't know if I have any of those left. That went 45 times around, but they were smaller, and not big ones, but smaller with a bigger hole in the middle. It was fascinating. Then but that's how I started out. I started out with the songs on the radio. So we didn't have rock and roll back then. We had the standards, we had musicals, musicals and classical. My dad loved classical. So I have classical playing downstairs for the birds because I can't go down there and listen to anything else. It would jar me. There's a lot of music that I don't like. It's not either melodious enough or it's boring. It's too much alike. Or it's, I don't like being yelled at.
No.
Don't yell at me. Sing what the song requires. And if
I find that too. I find that, Wendy, with some of today's music, it's just not. People obviously like to listen to it, but I can't even begin to get into it, and it's just revolting. I'm like, how?
It's because we're of an age, we grew up with certain sounds, and those are the ones we gravitate towards. And that's why I don't care for hip hop. I know millions of people do. A lot of the songs that I can't listen to the Grammys. I know they have some Grammy awards for classical, but most of the songs sound alike to me, and I like variety. I do not write in the same style all the time. My CD has a whole variety of different styles of songs on it, and it's just, for some people, I guess it's comforting talking about the type of music. That's what they resonate with. That's what they grew up with. So resonating, what we talk about resonating has to do with the vibrations.
Right.
Vibrations, that's some of the things I deal with in energy healing, is moving out negative vibrations, putting in positive vibrations. And when we raise somebody's vibration level, that gets into, according to the map of consciousness, to get into understanding, reverence, serenity, forgiveness, acceptance. On the lower ones, you've got shame, guilt, apathy. All of those are lower. And the people who are suffering and going through grief, you have to go through grief. There's no way around that it can be lessened with things like music. So one of the things I like to write are music about people's loved ones to help them feel better. So there's talking about your loved one, and there's listening to music, or creating music about your loved one, because that takes into account more parts of the brain and the body, because we feel everywhere.
Yeah.
Which helps take some of the charge away, not the memory, not the grief, but some of the charge from that. That's what makes sense to me with energy healing, and that's what makes sense to me with music.
You know,
of course,
you said
I like to have fun. I wanted to get fun in.
You said something that kind of reminded me. My mother is a songbird, and you were talking about harmonizing. My mother's a songbird. She sang to me when I was a baby, all of my life, and even up until today, she's been part of choruses and quartets. And Wendy, I go and listen to some of her competition, her chorus competing or her quartet competing, and I can hear my mother's voice out of 60 women. And that's kind of how in tune we are to those harmonies and those frequencies that you were talking about.
Right. I'm a harmony specialist. I've been harmonizing since I can remember. And if you're playing something or you're singing something, I'm doing the harmony. Now, it's real hard to harmonize to myself unless I'm using GarageBand and doing different tracks. But that's fun. So now I can do that. But that's part of the magic, is how harmony works. And then doing a dissonance. For many years, I didn't do any dissonance. I do now because it makes it interesting. I don't like the painful stuff, but I like the, especially in a jazzy type of thing. And I'm not a huge jazz fan, just from the standpoint that all of it sounds the same to me. But to throw in a jazz piece in the middle of other types of music, that's great, because those people who do that are remarkable. They have to be consummate players, which I am not. And whenever I sing something jazzy, that's fun. and it has more creativity than some of the other things. But to do that, but there's the sameness that bothers me, and that's just who I am. I don't like being bored.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you were talking about the types of music that are out there today, and that sometimes classical musicians get awards, are there people still composing
Oh,
classical music today?
oh my gosh! Now I live in Phoenix here. We have a classical station that is publicly supported. It's been around 30 years. Finally, when we didn't have a station, I think they jacked up the gain from Tucson, this classical station there that was always public.
Mm-hmm.
They have they do a lot of the gal here, the new gal who came in to take the morning show when somebody else retired. She does podcasts and about and with different musicians and composers and everybody involved. We're also promoting youngsters between, I think, 6 and 13 or 8 and 13 once a month to have them play and make sure that the young people are still doing it, are still interested. But there's composers all the time. So we just had a new program, not program, but symphony and piece that our North Valley Symphony Orchestra, which is a volunteer local orchestra, they play a mile from my house, and my kids are in high school, and I love that. And the parking is free, and it's $10 a ticket.
Nice.
But this was by a Native American about a story from their tradition. That's a recent composing piece. And there are other people about composing all the time. There's so many people who do composing for orchestra and for opera. There's new operas and of course musicals, but there's
I had a guest on my show. You're from Phoenix. He was from Sedona. I'm trying to remember his name, but he takes people out in the Sedona area, out in the country, and he plays the harp.
Oh, I love harp. That's a very difficult instrument to play.
Oh, I wish I could remember his name. Jackie, we got to get him back on. I don't think he's been on since you've been the co-host. But
did he play on the program?
Does what?
Did he play on the program, or you just talked?
Yeah, he played on the program. He composed a little song, and the harp is just amazing. That is truly a gift from heaven.
It is, and that's maybe one reason why we think of it as heavenly, and then we think of playing the harp and doing the harp as part of dying, you know. But maybe it makes dying more palatable.
I guess we'll find out someday, right?
Yeah, hopefully many years from now.
I understand you have your keyboard there with you. Is there something you want to share? Maybe a particular mood you're in today that's got a song in your heart?
Wait, let's back up just a minute. You know, Wendy, Jackie's really involved with young people, and it hit me. My daughter, when she was really young, my middle daughter, she started playing the ukulele, and it didn't seem like it was that difficult for her to pick up.
There it is.
It's not.
Right?
It's four strands, 4 strings.
And then I thought, Jackie is part of your class. Maybe you should introduce the ukulele.
Yeah, I'd have to know how to play it myself, though.
It's not that hard.
I did take some lessons once in Hawaii from a native Hawaiian, but I don't have my ukulele any longer. So, but yeah,
it's pretty simple, right, Wendy? Like you were saying, there's only 4 chords,
4 strings. So it's
4 strings.
It's totally different pattern than the guitar. I'm self-taught. My first ukulele, which is in my office here, I bought in 1963. I went to the National Music Camp Interlochen for 2 summers, and that's a pretty big deal. I did mostly singing there, and when I did music appreciation class to find out what instrument I should play, they wanted me to play the violin, but that was too screechy. I couldn't stand that. But cello. which is more mellow. Not that I was ever great, played that in high school. But the ukulele, because we couldn't afford a guitar and we couldn't afford lessons. I had piano lessons. And I always wanted to play the guitar, but I picked up the ukulele because somebody else at camp, one of the girls had one. And it was I'm just totally self-taught. Would it help me if I took a class? Sure. I have books that I can do techniques on, but I'm so good at playing by ear. My very first piano teacher, when I was 7, we had him for 3 years, Mr. Valerio, reminded me a lot of John Payne, who was a B actor back then, a Western star. He was in Restless Gun, which I can sing the song of. And well, my brother and I watched all the Westerns, except the ones on the other channels, because we only had 3 and you didn't have any recording.
That's right.
But I learned to play scales and chords. And of course, arpeggios are just chords broken up, you know, instead of this chord. So that's an arpeggio. And he made me memorize everything. So I'm not as good a sight reader as I could be, but at least I can still read, and which is great for choir. But I sing in Jewish choir. We had a choir at my job too. I mean, I got stories. Wow. How many hours do you have?
Well, we got about 35 minutes.
But what it taught me was I have an ear to pick up melody. And so I learned, this is before I ever had the ukulele. So the first song I picked up and played by myself was the Marine song. And then I would also harmonize to it. That's an easy one. It's all major. There's no minor in it. So this is minor, this is major. And there's some few other things like augmented. And then this is diminished. So there's things that I learned to play with, and it's harder to pick up on the ukulele, but I do have ukulele books that I have the things I can look up when I don't feel like figuring out myself. But I have small hands, so I have to figure some things out myself, do an alternative because I can't reach everything. It's easier on this one, but I have I have 3. This is a soprano ukulele, and it is normally tuned a whole step above the tenor, which is the tenor is based on your C chord. And this is a step up, so it would be D, but I play everything the same, and I would have to, if I'm recording it, I'd have to decide what to do about the key. So a step, for those who don't know, so this would be, that's a step. That's a step. Half a step would be this. The ukulele doesn't play here, it plays here. For many years, I had it tuned wrong. I had it tuned back to this until I finally read the book again, or the original instructions. The reason I keep it tuned correctly is to keep the strings hanging on longer. We don't want them to get too lax. We don't want them to get too tight and break.
Yeah.
Actually,
so I think you were going to play something before I interrupted you with trying to convince Jackie that she needs to teach her kids with the ukulele. I think that would be so cool.
The ukulele, there are many books on how to do that. A lot of that is just to start. First thing I learned was the chords. So this is, of course, is a step up, but the C chord with my finger, can you see right here on the bottom string?
Her husband is a pronounced guitar player, so it wouldn't take Jackie long at all to pick it up.
So this is basically the C chord, only I'm playing it in the D. And then the first thing I learned was that one, and the next one is F. So my finger is right here. And then that's the G. 7.
If I recall, the fingerings were the same as on a guitar.
No.
Right? No?
No, because the
Or
chords
like
are
D, or like D or E, weren't the fingerings the same? Even though there weren't as many strings. Like an E is like the top two strings or something on the guitar. Is it the same way for a?
and E is different, but G,
Okay.
here's D. D is right here, this first
Yeah.
three
Okay.
strings on this.
Okay.
And the guitar, I think, is easier to do picking on, although my hero, Jake Shimburukura, who's from Hawaii and probably played in the womb, and his mother taught him. He played everywhere, but he knew classical stuff on the ukulele. I mean, I'll never be that good. I don't play all the time. I'm always doing writing and doing other things and working in my garden and then visiting my daughter and dealing with the birds and doing energy healing.
Yeah.
And people want me to go to meetings. And I cook a lot. So I don't spend the time doing that, but I always have music going through me.
Yeah.
Always.
Is that how you got into energy healing? Was it something that music led you to, or?
No, my daughter with Down syndrome. So my middle child has Down syndrome. She now has Alzheimer's, and the music is what brings her out. So when we go back and we sing some of the things we used to do, karaoke on cruise ships and Facebook Lives. I got some old Facebook Lives with her. Looking back, when she didn't want to do the Facebook Lives anymore, I realized that she couldn't read it anymore. We didn't know her brain was shrinking. But just as the original songs came in, I've been doing parodies for many years. When she had her bat mitzvah, my other two kids, the oldest and the youngest, they had a bat mitzvah and a bar mitzvah. But Layla was right in the middle. And we worked for 2 years on that because she had to memorize it. She couldn't read Hebrew. And she did phenomenally. And when I took her to temple, everybody was so glad to hear her do all the prayers and sing. And she didn't sing on key, but I have an article in Medium that I wrote based on how I looked at it, that it went up to God and it came down perfect and everybody loved hearing it. So this article was singing in God's key. And that's what she did.
Nice.
But for her bat mitzvah, have you ever been to a bar bat mitzvah, either of you?
I don't think I have. I don't think I have.
Well, after the child reads the Torah and does their speech, then the parents generally say something nice about them, theoretically. It's usually nice. And I was doing that. I'd already done the poem to thank all the teachers, because it really takes a village and a state to raise a child with disabilities. You cannot do that alone. But I was writing now the poem about her, and this tune kept knocking at me and wouldn't let me go. And I said, all right, you're a song. So I did the song and I sang it with the cantor, and she played the guitar with me, and I had her do a harmony, not the usual one you would think of, but a different harmony and the last phrase. That's how I heard it. And it really, you are Layla, you bring a song to my heart. You are Layla, determined right from the start. I have been playing this for a while. When you try and succeed by and by, you are Layla. So that song describes her today still. I mean, that hasn't changed. She is who she was. When she was first born, she was early. She was only about 4 pounds. Wow. And she kept turning over. In those days, they hadn't connected sudden infant death syndrome with being put on your stomach. And they had, because she had jaundice, they had this light on her. Incubator. But she kept turning over. She pushed herself over, and that's where I got this idea. Right from the start, she was determined she was going to do it her way. And she's not a quitter. She fell hundreds of times learning to ride her bike, but she rode that bike. So that she got me into that. So Layla's been living out of the house for well over 20 years. There's another story to that I'm not going to go into. But she was going through something and getting into trouble. She was being late and making everybody late to go to day program. And we couldn't figure out why, and she could never answer why questions. That's an abstract. So people with Down syndrome, many of them, cannot answer why questions. It doesn't compute. So I didn't know what else to do. I'm the guardian. Everybody's looking to me to fix it, and I'm the only one who can yell at her. And that doesn't work. And it hurts me to hurt her. And doesn't it hurt all parents to hurt their kids?
Yeah.
You don't want to discipline if you can help it.
Well, and especially if they're not able to understand
Yeah,
why
and
you're
it
having that emotion. Yeah.
just didn't get anywhere. So
Right.
I was looking around for anything, and I was at a women's program, met this gal who did energy healing. I didn't believe in energy. I didn't know what it was. I'd never had Reiki. I didn't know what that was. All these other modalities, never believed in it. But she said, come take a class. She was going to have a class in my area the next month. So after hemming and hawing, I finally did. With no expectations. I mean, none. Walked into this class, and half a morning, I felt the edge of the energy field on another student.
Hmm.
And I said to myself, oh my gosh, this is real.
Hmm.
So I kept taking classes, and I found out there was a healing class, and I took that. And then I learned that I could use that on other people too. So that becomes a business, and it does help other people. And I amaze myself every time it does, but it does.
Wow.
So can you give us some examples of how you've helped people? I mean,
I'll tell you the first really huge impact that I had. Layla and she had learned to snorkel, and I know Alzheimer's, looking back, was coming back then, but we went on a diving trip with our group, with our scuba club, in a place that was really enclosed, so Layla could be by herself. And I was on another, I mean, there were people watching her. I was on a special, in a van to go to a special dive, shark dive, to dive with the sharks. Gentleman next to me let everybody on with the jump seat pulled up, everybody else in the van. He dropped the jump seat on his big toe. That's flat against the base of the floor of the van. He howled. He had known what I did, and he asked for help. He begged for help. I didn't think anybody really believed that energy worked, but he didn't know what else to do. And so I took 10 minutes. First minute after just separating negative cords from him, which is the first thing we always do. If you ever see me doing this, you know somebody's swearing.
Huh.
That collapses your field really fast. The pain stopped, and after 10 minutes, he had no bruising, no swelling. He was able to do the shark dive. And when we got back to the resort afterwards, they still verified no bruising, no swelling, no nothing. Got to him right away. I have a lovely testimonial he wrote. I have that. He emailed that to me. That surprised even me, because I was still new. So and then I have other testimonials from people who I have helped to get over being sick, to get over laryngitis. Is something that my friend is a singer-songwriter, and she speaks and does programs for senior centers. And she can't afford to have laryngitis. She's also a very good violist, and she plays ukulele and the dulcimer, and she's a very talented lady. But she has to have her voice.
Yeah.
So we're in a group together. She contacted me, and I worked on her, and it released right away. And another gal, and we have a group here called, I missed it because I was getting ready for you guys, but Event Ensemble. There's a lot of DJs and caterers, all kinds of things for that. I'm the only original songwriter. But she sells Cutco knives, which are great. I love them.
That's still a thing? Wow.
Cutco. I love my peeler. First thing I did with it was zest. It's that good. My oranges. She had laryngitis, and we were on another program, and I said, I can help you. So she texted me and said, you have time today? And I made the time, and the first thing she felt was the relaxing, and she was able to get over it faster, because she also talks for a living. If you're selling something, you use your voice. Use your voice. So I know that all works, and the songs I wrote a song about my mother, and I recently did a Facebook Live with it in August. It was right after the 7th anniversary of my mother's passing. But I wrote it while she was alive and on a trip that my oldest daughter and I were on with my mother in Africa. We finally had, our group had a day dinner to ourselves, just the group. I hauled around this roll-up piano, which is flat, so you can't really play it, but you can do chords, and I had set up the rhythm that I wanted, and I practiced because my daughter roomed with my mother, and I had the room to myself, and they didn't know I was going to do this. So I edified my mother with this song. It was amazing, the gift of that song for her in front of other people.
Yeah.
And then I sang it at we used to have a holistic referral network group that's no longer living, shall we say. It passed into another realm. But the gentleman who hosted that hosted other networking things. So I did this at that networking meeting. I had my 7 minutes and I was talking about music and grief. And I sang that song about my mother because that helps me. My mother was my best friend. She lived till 95. And he said at another event when I just introduced that concept about music helping people go through grief in this song about their loved one, he said, when I heard this song, I knew who this woman was. In fact, I still see him on Zoom a few times a week. And I said, I never did get that testimonial. So I finally emailed him and I sent him the Facebook Live link that I did so he could remember the song. But he said, I remember. How it made him feel that he knew this woman. My mother was such a interesting and a great woman, and she went through all kinds of stuff. And the war and she's went through the collapse of 29. We're talking about the stock market, everybody. She went through that. My parents went through that. This gave her essence. And I did a little rabid talk about that. If you play or Scrabble, you better not babble or you're blah, 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 reduce you to babble. She was that good. So I had a bunch of things in there. I don't follow anybody else's pattern. There are patterns, but I break out of the mold. So if I didn't, it wouldn't be who I am because things go through me. I didn't pick the tune, but the tune seemed to be reminiscent of the 20s when she was born. I don't know where that came from.
Cool. So how do you bring this into when you're presenting on stage to an organization or something like that? And I understand that you write parodies or songs for them. So do you just wait to see what comes through you, or is there something that you do to prepare ahead of time?
Are you talking about if I'm doing it in advance or on the spot?
Either one. Either one.
Usually it's in advance. I mean, I haven't had the opportunity, but I can do songs for speakers. What is your theme? I mean, I'm prepared today. If we wanted to do a little song and we might have to have me come back and do what we had originally planned on, take a melody.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do the master class on, taking a folk song and transforming that into another melody. So it's original because everything's based on something else, but people have a breakthrough. That's what composers do. They have a breakthrough for a style.
Yeah.
Beethoven did that. Dvorak, all these great composers.
Yeah.
I will prepare something in advance. If I'm doing a talk on, say, energy healing, I have my song that I wrote based on a class that I took. Everything is energy, I know. I mean, that's the second part of the second verse. There's a whole song about the class that brings in not the class per se, but the things I learned from the class and things that we learn in how we're supposed to do our business. Decide and act to sing, because you can make a decision. What's that joke about? You have 5 birds sitting on a wire, 3 decide to fly away. How many birds are on the wire still? You know that one?
I don't think so. It's
Well,
not coming to mind.
they just decided but didn't act, so you still have 5 birds on the wire
Oh.
without act. So that's, things like that. And that's what I learned from the class, and that's what I have in the song. And I'm gonna put together. I have a song I wrote for a charity. So I did Facebook Live on the one that I did for the camp that Layla went to for 30 plus years, Lions Camp Tadia. And I did that at a fundraiser. I came in advance because when you go to something, don't you bring something? In my retirement party for my job, I brought a song I wrote. My goodbye song. It's on my CD. I actually sang that the other day, karaoke style, because I have the karaoke version of that song, and I just sang the words. I really should do the whole thing and then do the harmony that I keep hearing in my head. Whoops,
Yeah.
So
now, where can people find the CD that you're talking about?
You have to get it from me. I have some. I have all the songs, not the stories behind the songs, which are also on the CD, behind most of the songs. I have it on SoundCloud, but I don't have it public. So people want it, they have to contact me, and I need their information. Hey, listen, we all have to build a list, right?
Right.
But I have the physical CDs, and I can't get in there right now because I'm holding up my light. I sent you the picture of it, of the cover.
Yeah, it was in our newsletter.
Yeah, and I have the physical ones. So I know a lot of people don't have CD players, but people my age do. I have CD players, and a lot of people do. And you can always, I also have that external one that you plug in, so I can play a CD or DVD. But I have CDs, and I will, they are for sale, and I will give discount to anybody who finds me from here. And I'll pay for the shipping. If it's out of the country, that's something else. But anywhere in the United States, that's easy.
Yeah.
But it's got real pretty pictures on it, because pictures from some of my travels. And the gentleman who did the photos, he'd put me on green screen. I have different views of me, except for the front page, which was live in the Superstition Mountains. Everything else is me on someplace in my travels, Victoria Falls, the Galapagos, Africa. So that's kind of fun. And then the stories are fun. And one of these days, I'm going to put all the stories up on Medium, and I'll link to the song.
Nice.
Well, do you have something fun to play for us today?
Ooh, I didn't prepare anything except that I could do the song if I can find the sheet, because I don't remember much. A little bit of the Oasis song. This is one where when I was Oasis is a parrot sanctuary outside of Denison, Arizona, which is south of Tucson. I've been supporting them for years, and Layla and I would go out there, and I sang this song one time, practice it at my event ensemble, and have everybody do their best parrot call. Now I can only do one myself, but everybody got into it, because we were doing, instead of hip hip hooray, a cheer for the volunteers, without whom this cannot happen.
Yeah.
So and then down at Oasis they did the same thing. So it was really fun. So I'm going to have somebody come on and do a Zoom thing, and everybody do their call at the same time. Well, and if it's off a little bit, that's okay, because everybody's off. There's all kinds of parrot calls, and somebody says hello, because I have birds that do that, and then all that kind of stuff. I'll do part of it. Way out west, there's an oasis in the wilds of Arizona. I must confess that you might not guess just what is the persona. Way out west, there's an oasis not far from Benson town, where birds on a feather can flock together, all feathers beak and down. The parrots here live without fear, it's the final destination. Far from abuse, neglect, misuse, it's a perfect new location. They that's a couple of verses.
Nice. Yay.
Hey,
And then down there, the three cheers. But I think outside the box, everybody else would have done hip hip hooray.
Yeah. Right.
I have a bird brain because birds are very, where do I have it? I have it in here. Oh, okay. Bird brain is a compliment because they're so intelligent, and while they prove to be so smart, they always have a lot of heart. The birds are really very intelligent.
Yeah, they were.
Also, they love being worked on energetically, as all pets do.
Yeah.
Healing works on pets. I healed a dog. It was amazing. I work in my birds. I don't want them to get arthritis. Part of that is I'm feeding them better than I used to with my older birds. These are not the same birds I started out with. But they're, and as with all pets, and horses are really big on this, you have to be calm. They pick up your energy.
Right.
Everybody really does. You walk into a room and it feels icky. You've got negative energy in there, and there's ways to help yourself get through that, unless some people have to leave. But your energy precedes you before a call. After a call, there's tools to use so that you don't carry their energy with you. The reason I can do energy healing, and I can do music from here to anywhere in the world, is that nothing blocks energy. And of course, MP3s and the internet are great for sending things around. I don't have to be there.
Do your parents sing? I was just going to ask if your parents sing, and then I think Todd had a question.
I had one who did. I had a couple actually who did. Not songs. You hear some parents actually sing the lyrics and the melody. Mine didn't, but they had their version of singing.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you ever walked into a room that was kind of low energy, you could feel that kind of that strange vibe. You just break out the ukulele and just start playing a tune.
Actually, that's a thought. I don't walk around with my ukulele.
You should.
Maybe I shouldn't have a song if I know I'm going to sing. I used to sing at some of the Chamber of Commerce meetings.
Oh, those can be very dry.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's out to sell something, so I don't go to those anymore. The networking where we can do more into joint venturing, that's more my speed, or just to throw out something new. Because I also threw out, speaking on Down syndrome, 3 great mindsets to raise your child with Down syndrome, who has Down syndrome, and you have it applies to other disabilities, and I have a unique perspective as well. Yeah. Because my late brother had multiple disabilities. And yesterday I did a Facebook Live on happy birthday, my brother, number 77. I morphed off one I did a couple years ago at his 75th birthday. And that was, I try to do everything with meaning. So he and I used to watch all the Westerns, and he liked Gene Autry, and I liked Roy Rogers, who was a better singer. That's why. But I did the song. I took the song "Happy Trails to You Until We Meet Again," and that was actually written by. That was for their TV show, and that was written by Dale Evans. She wrote it.
Oh wow!
He actually, the only child they had together was a child with Down syndrome, a little girl.
Interesting.
Lived till about 2 years because she had an inoperable heart defect. I saw a picture of her finally. Dale also wrote a book, Angel Unaware. I've never read it, but it's on my mind. Maybe I can get it offline, or maybe the library has it. See what she had to say. But after that, all the appearances that Roy Rogers made, all the kids and adults with disabilities came out. They weren't seen before. He made it possible. Wow. He made it right. He made it good.
He made it okay.
He made it okay. Yeah, for people with disabilities.
That's the first I ever heard of that.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my goodness, ladies. Yeah. We only have like a couple minutes left. The show just went by so fast. So Wendy, do you have any events coming up? Anything you want to make mention of?
I don't have an event coming up. I do live on that's parrot talk, clear Steve.
There you go.
There is an easy way pitch party tonight. By the time this gets aired, people won't know about it, but it's every 2 weeks. So if people want to find out about those, I have links to that, and I put it out on my Facebook page. I put it out on LinkedIn.
What's your Facebook page?
Oh, and my Facebook actually is just my regular Facebook. It's Wendy.Weber, Weber. So Wendy.Weber. So Facebook. I don't have a bird on my shoulder anymore. I changed my picture. I might go back to it because there's a lot of Wendy Webers.
Oh, right.
I would imagine.
Wendy.Weber. So it's
Wendy.Weber. Okay.
Yeah, and on Instagram, it's Wendy E. Weber, because there was already a Wendy Weber. So it's Wendy E. Weber on Instagram. And LinkedIn, it's look for Wendy Weber Music. Find me there. So I try to show up everywhere. That's another thing. Who's got time?
That's right.
Exactly. And we are just about out of time. I want to thank you so much for showing up as you today and bringing your ukulele with you. Yeah, it was great fun. And energy or music has a way of healing all things, and the heart especially, and people's commitment to music, I think, needs to turn around a little bit these days.
Well, you know how I sign off. Have a joyous melody in your heart and harmony in your life.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice.
I like that. Thank you, Wendy, for being here.
Thank you so much. That's about all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. My biggest hope is that you will tell a friend about the show and go to YouTube, Life Mastery Radio with Todd and Jackie, and listen to some other cool shows that we got up there. Jackie and I produce a show every week. It's live, and then it goes to YouTube. So check it out. Any last words, Jack?
Have a happy, marvelous, melodious day.
A melodious day. Now there's a word. That's about it. Lastly, please, please, please make it a great day, because a melodious day requires a choice. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Life Mastery Radio. Join Todd Allen and Jackie Bailey and their guests of leading authors, speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific. Learn to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery through stories and messages to support your well-being and most evocative dreams. Visit their website, www.lifemasteryradio.com. Join their mailing list and be notified about upcoming guests. That's lifemasteryradio.com.